Hey everyone, this is Aaron with Crypto Trends. Today, August 27th, 2019. Taking a look at BTC, Bitcoin, and market update. Is there too much supply going on? What's happening here? We're going to be taking a look at the market using a Wyckoff perspective. Please keep in mind that this is not financial advice, just my opinion. So, let me make sure that I'm streaming. Yay, I'm streaming, so that's good. Alright, so let's take a look at the chart. This is the 45-minute Bitcoin on Bitfinex. And as we can see here, it's pretty much just moving in a, well, relatively straight line. Whoops, there's all my other lines. Well, let's go ahead and show them while we're here. Okay, so what we have here from a Wyckoff perspective is that we had previously, let me get that line off. Okay, back here in this time frame, let me get these little notifications off. Back here in this time frame, we had, let me get these off there. Back in this time frame, we had what I was calling a reaccumulation, which is pretty much after an upward movement, like so, an upward movement. We have basically a time frame period where there's sideways movement and with a slight uptrend. And if we look over here again, yeah, we have the same thing. We have an upward movement and then sideways. Note that the scale between these two, the length of time is much greater. And this is just a larger, think of it as being just blown up version of this area right here. And what we have going on, just taking a look at the volumes, is that we have back up in here at the peak, we had the largest sell volume that really brought it down. And that's because people are taking profits. Okay, fine and simple. Then it bumps back up. And then the one nice thing is that when it dropped way down, we didn't see a tremendous amount of sells. So there was a lot of buying pressure here to actually keep this pretty deep wick, not a wick, but downward angle up above, going up above from the lower levels. So that was a good sign. And then it rebounded pretty quickly, went back up to a secondary test, and just kind of bled out for a bit. And right around in here, they're doing a test. Let me blow this up here so you guys can see. They're doing a test. Yeah, I'll probably put those back on. Right here to test the supply. And could they even get it going down lower? Now the thing is that if we look at the volume, that took an awful lot of effort to get it down to that range. And so they tested the supply, see if there was anyone interested in selling at this level. Not too many people. There were some people buying in, which is, okay. So they tried it again right here. And that took actually a lot of effort, more than they expected. And so they bought back in. Okay. So they tested dropping it, and so they got back to their normal position. That's pretty much what results in the BARTs. They drop the price, see where it can go, test the bottom range here, and then buy back in. So they're looking at a net thing. It's not a profit taking or whatever, but what happens when they do this is that they bring liquidity into the market, which they're looking for, because they're looking for your Bitcoins. And there's not a whole lot of sellers, so they bought back in. And that actually took a large effort to bring back in. So they really wanted it up in this range, which is about the 10.3, okay? And that's actually a good sign. Okay, so that was basically pretty much the low. That was like the last point of supply here. Well, actually this was, but what do I mean by the last point of supply? Well, the thing is that you can think of it as being the last point where people are willing to actually sell. Okay, so they brought it up here, tried it again. Not a whole lot of interest in this level in this level here between around, you know, the high 9,000s. So another thing that they did, which is of interest, is this one spike here. This was another test to actually clear shorts and longs, which is a pretty bullish sign. That's really a bullish sign, and lo and behold, look what happened. It's just started going up. So this freaked a lot of people out, but it brought a lot of liquidity back into the market, and it showed somewhat of a change of a character, because we're looking from this downward slope here to all of a sudden going up, right? Yeah. So it was down like that, and then it changed its direction, changing character. Okay, so right now we have this changing character going on. Bring it up to the highs. See if we can sell. We can dump. We can dump. Are there people interested in selling? Notice this candle here. It's on the volume that I'm looking at here. Tons of effort to bring this down. Same as this one. So here they're testing the highs. They took a lot of effort to bump it up, and it took a lot of effort to bring it down. And the resulting is straight. What does that signify? Well, that signifies that there's not a lot of buyers. There's not a lot of buyers up here in this area that are interested in buying. There's not a lot of sellers interested in selling right around here. So there's really not a lot of interest in people buying or selling. I guess that's my point. It's pretty much flat. And if you take a look at people, at the general consensus out there, people are just holding tight. They're not buying, they're not selling, they're just waiting for this thing to go back up to 15, 20,000. There's a huge following of people that think this thing is going to 100 grand. So why on earth are they going to sell at 20, right? They're not. Why are they going to sell at 9? They're not. And so they use media, stuff like that, to scare people, to shake loose the weak hands, and so on and so forth. And here's another attempt of doing that right here. That shook some people loose. And let's move on over. Okay, so here's where we're at pretty recently. So they did another lower test. Notice the volumes here, big increase in volumes, big volumes on the sells. They really had to push hard to get it down. And then it popped right back up. Okay, let's bump this thing down, and it's popping back up. So there's a lot of buoyancy in the market right now in this range. There's a lot of buoyancy. And this is not from just retails. Retail, they're just holding. They're pretty much out of the market. They're not buying or they're not selling. So this is the institutionals that they're messing around with. And institutionals compete against us other institutions. That's what they do. They're the ones that are able to move the market like this. And what we have, let's continue on. Okay, so right down here was the last point of supply for our current range. And it was the low, and it's just been going up gradually. Draw a little line, you guys can see it. See, there it is, just going up gradually at a nice slope, which is a really good sign. And they're just doing tests to the highs and then to the lows. They're checking this bottom again. They want to make sure that they have everything they could possibly get in this price range before they start bumping it up. They want to make sure that they have the supply. That is all there is to it, because once they have the supply, they can bump the price up pretty easily once that's accomplished. Hence this one right here, this big wick, largest green volume that we've seen in a while. That was another test and quickly bled out. People were taking profits, so on and so forth. So they still have some supply coming in that's keeping it down right around this range, which is this white line that I have that's marked, which is at 10.3. Okay. Now if I scroll out, what does that white line signify? That white line goes back to the beginning of this campaign, which was the automatic rally. And that was the low after the buying climax, which was the peak. So it came back up at the very peak. That's the buying climax. drops way back down, and then it recovers pretty good. That at the bottom point is the automatic rally or automatic recovery. Then they start going into the testing phases, and they have different phases of the lifetime of this campaign. And depending on the supply and the demand of where they can go, it takes some time. It takes some time. Now, here's my little green thing that I drew of where I thought it was going to be going. Is going to go up and down, just kind of like this sideways motion here, pretty much in this range. And looking for a drop here, one last scare. Now keep in mind that this time frame, I mean, it could be here, okay? But that's pretty much what I'm looking for. I had it right around in there. That's pretty much what I'm looking for, is some still sideways movement, going up a little bit, maybe another peak right around here in this range, which is about 11. Okay, big drop, and then another big test right around here, starting high 11s and then up towards the buying climax. What they're doing is they're testing. They want to make sure that they're testing and stuff. And what do we have that's going on today is that we had the last day of the G20 summit. Why is that important? Well, let's scroll out to the day. And what happened on the last G20? Right here. Boom. Down. And then all of a sudden it went up. But then it just started kind of dithering out. This was a totally different time. A totally different time and different investors in the space. And then we all have this recovery going up, and now we're doing pretty good. So let me go back here to the 45-minute. Okay, so here we are. So we're looking at this thing bumping up. We have higher lows, which is nice. It's on a nice general uptrend going up. We have a nice huge buy, which is an indicator that's actually giving a lot of gas to pretty much push the market up in a general direction. We'll see if there's another one coming up, because we're going to be looking for another test right around in here sometime in the near future. I mean, it's going that way already. You guys can see it going like that. And then they test to the bottom. And so when this stops is a matter of just time. It's when they believe, and I'm talking about the composite operators here, when they believe that they have the supply, and when they do a test to the upside, that it takes a lot less effort, okay, to get it to move up a greater amount than before. So if they had to use, for like this spike here, if they had to go and put that much effort in to get it to that level, what we're looking at is something around here. It's like, let's say they had a buy and was able to spike it up that same amount, then they know that they have the supply, because that's a Wyckoff rule with supply with a result and effort. Okay, so they want to see a greater result with less effort. That's what they're doing. That's what they're looking for. That's why they're doing all of these tests. That's why things go up and down. Excuse me a second. That's why things go up and down. They're just doing tests. They do it to the downside. They do it to the upside. It's just market factors. Now, if we take a look at this from a BART type of way, what do we have here is that we have basically one big open BART. So for it to close would be up in this area. You see that one great big open BART. Let me go ahead and change the colors on it. That was a bad color. How about a nice red? I don't know if you guys can see that. Let's make it white. Okay, so yeah, nice big old BART right here. And we'll see what happens from that. But that would be a close if you're looking at it from a BART type of way. Get rid of that line. But what I'm looking at here is basically a little miniature trading range. We have some tests to the lows, we have some tests to the highs, and it's bouncing around here. And that's really about it. And so they're just looking for supply. Here's some other stuff that we have going on. If we look at the volumes here, what do we have? Just looking at the reds, we have declining. We have a decrescendo in the volumes of the reds. They're declining. They are declining, which is interesting. On the greens, we have pretty much an increase there, but then we can also say, it's going down like this, okay? So yeah, it's like real basic, not charting actually the volumes, but I'm just looking at the relative movements. If we scroll on out, relatively, what are we looking at is pretty much a general downtrend. General downtrend in the volumes, which is interesting because that means that something is going to happen. Something is going to happen. Let me go ahead and shrink this back down. So yeah, so what is going to happen? Well, right now what we're looking for is that this is going to be going through a different phase, which is more chop. And then, let me take auto off here. Drop back down. It could drop back down. It could only drop into this area here. It doesn't have to go all the way down there. It could, but it doesn't have to. It could go like this, whatever, drop down and just start going up. And we're looking for something that will be a spring, and there's about 3 to 4 different types of springs in Wyckoff. So we'll see what happens. But my target box here that I have is right around high 11s. So we'll see that, and that's, a little bit in the future. This is kind of like a wait and see, just seeing how many people, like I said before, they're just checking supply and demand. Once institution has the supply, they'll bump it up, and then they'll sell. Okay? And then they'll sell. So let's scroll out here even further. And I hope it doesn't jump up here real quick. That's a danger zone. If it jumps up here in this time span, that's a danger, because then we'll be looking at a parabolic like that. And then you could think of this as like being an airplane. When it goes straight up vertical, it stalls, and it has to go down and catch momentum before it gets air under its wings again. And then it can start flying again. All right. Let me kill that. So yeah, so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at for it to go like this and then have some type of a trend going up in this fashion. And if I scroll down further, come on, thingy. I keep on clicking that thing. It's not taking it. Okay. Let's see if I can show that. No, it's not showing on this chart. Anyway, so that's what I'm looking at, guys. It's pretty much same old. Trading in this trading range here. There's going to be some ups and downs. The testing of the ranges, like here and here. We'll see what happens. And yeah, so that's about it for Bitcoin. Whoops. A little revert is going off. And if you have any questions on that, hey, let me know. But from a Wyckoff perspective, yeah, we're just kind of sitting and waiting. It's going through its phases, waiting for it to get to its D phase, its D and E phase, and that's when it jumps up into that lovely spring that everyone loves, because that's when it goes up. Yay. So we'll see what happens. Now, this also, so this whole area to me looks like reaccumulation. And that means basically, they're interested in buying, not dumping the coins. Okay, yeah, they're taking some profits along the way, but their overall interest is in accumulating the coins. Now, there is one piece of news, the thing with Craig Wright, where he has to give up half of his bitcoins. Right, that judgment came down. And we'll see what happens, but let's assume that, it was ruled that he was part of a group that it was like, basically they call it Satoshi as a group of 3 people. That's what the court said. And anyway, he has to give up half of his bitcoins. which is a lot, 500,000 Bitcoins. Let's assume this is all true, and that's what he has to do, and he won't fight it, anymore. Blah blah blah. Let's assume that's true. Looking at the timing, what do we have that's coming up real soon? Backed. Yeah, we have Backed, and then we also have other major players that want a lot of coins. They want a lot of coins. I'm talking institutions. Now, there might be some fear out there in the markets that, hey, they're going to take these 500,000 or 200,000 Bitcoin or whatever to pay for inheritance tax and just dump it on the open market. That's not going to happen. There's far, far too many very thirsty buyers of Bitcoin on OTC, and you can better believe that they'll be contacted if they haven't been already about purchasing the Bitcoin on privately. So as far as it being dumped on the open market, no, there's going to be too much slippage that the person will encounter. If they do that, then this thing will just like dump down to below, I don't know, 2,000-3,000, and we don't want to see that. We don't want to see it dump that low, and it wouldn't be financially smart for them to just sell everything and drop it down that fast. Okay, that's another. We don't need to see that, and I don't think it's going to happen. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, this is where I think Bitcoin is going. Best luck to everyone. Not financial advice. This thing could just absolutely dump, which is a very, very real possibility back into this level here. But I don't think it's going to go there. It's just my opinion. Put down in the comments where you think it's going and all that good stuff. Anyway, I've been away for a while. Windows Update came down and messed up a lot of my systems. Thank you, Windows. Anyway, that is what it is. So don't forget to like, subscribe, get notified. Just going to see if somebody's on the chat. Say hi real quick and check out. So hey, there's Mega. Hey, how's it going? So Mega McClure is thinking, hey, wish I had another. Been in the mountains. Wants some more money to throw out the key. Yeah, the key's interesting. They haven't. They've been quiet. They've been very quiet, haven't they? They haven't had any announcements or whatever about the key. The key is TKY. If you guys don't know, they could be doing something. They could just be gone. We'll see. But right now they're up almost 3%, which is interesting. Go their 7-day here. Yeah, just pretty much flat, going straight across like Bitcoin and stuff. But we'll see what's going on with the key. If we look at the Reddit, there's no news. There's no news. There's a few Twitter things. But keep in mind, let's assume that what they say is true, and they're still working on this thing and all this and that. It could be something, because why wouldn't they be talking about anything? Because they're working on with the PBOC, the People's Bank of China, with currency and stuff like that. And a key element of the digital RMB, renminbi, is identification. And that's what the key is all about. So the key says that they have the exclusive rights in China for identification verification. We'll see, right? Keep in mind, this is still a what I call a wildcat investment type of thing, where it could do something, it could do nothing, right? It's pretty much with a lot of the alts. But keep an eye on this. Hopefully there'll be some news, so we'll see. But my bags are full on this. I haven't sold anything. There's some FUD rumors going around that KuCoin is going to drop the key. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, best of luck to you if you're holding it. So that is the key, and then this is Bitcoin. Whoop-de-dee. Anyway, guys, yeah, alt season. Hey, Dances, good to see you. Morning. Any timeline on alt season? Yeah, we already had it. We already had alt season. That was, you guys missed it. It was wonderful. That was it. There's no more alt season for another year or two the way people are thinking until when will there be alt season? There'll be alt season after the apps start getting more active on Ethereum. Ethereum crashes. People will be struggling to find other platforms to move their apps on. And these are for the serious ones, okay? And so they'll be looking at VeChain and Zilliqa, in my opinion. And that will be, 1 to 2 years out. But as far as like alts just going bonkers and stuff like that, no, it's a different market. Those people that did that are done. Okay, they're just not putting money in anything. It's the thing is that Ethereum made it so just anybody could photocopy a white paper and stick it out there. Have an Ethereum based token. They could set that up in a week or two, and all of a sudden, wham! They're getting all this money. Take the Ethereum and then they dump it. Okay, that was Ethereum's use case. Pretty much. As far as it being used as a network, no. But the thing is, that was a get-rich-quick type of scheme. That was what people called the alt season. So anybody was going crazy because alts were going up 20, 30, 40% in a day. So that was huge. Now we're only seeing the pump and dumps do that. So as far as a big alt season, no, I'm not looking for a big alt season. I'm looking long term for 2-3 years for good alts to rise. Okay, and take a look at VeChain. I like it. I like VeChain. Strong fundamentals. Its price action really stinks. I mean, it's like terrible, but its fundamentals are very, very, very strong. If you haven't looked at VeChain, highly suggest you do. And there's a few other coins out there that will survive instead of alt season. Let's put it this way: instead of alt season being a huge increase in a whole bunch of alts and everybody's making all this money and all this stuff, no, I'm thinking more of an alt apocalypse. Okay, where a lot of them just dump down even further, and people will see, okay, well, this one's junk, oh, well, here's a diamond in the rough, okay, well, let's go into that. And so we're going to have a select few altcoins where people put their money in. That's how I see it. And also here, with this going up, the interesting thing with the Craig Wright ruling and stuff like that, and back coming on board and all that good stuff, is we're going to start seeing a lot more advertisement for cryptocurrency in general. So we're the 1%ers. So let's get the 5, the 10%, the more retail people coming into the market. They're going to be buying into Bitcoin. After that, they're going to be saying, Bitcoin is like kind of boring. They're saying, oh, well, if I put money into Bitcoin and it 10x's, that's 100. That's 100 grand, okay? If I put my money into an altcoin, it could 1000x, So what they're going to do, in my opinion, is they're going to have a majority of their funds in Bitcoin, and they're going to take some play money and put it into alts. But that will be, in my opinion, that won't be for a couple of years down the road until there really starts to get a lot of acceptance and information out there about altcoins and this and that. So watch for the altcoins with strong government backing, strong backing from corporations and or banks. Okay, that should give you a pretty good clue. And so that's about it. That's about it, guys. So don't forget to like, subscribe, get notified, put your comments down below, and have a wonderful day.